So, World Record campaign, a breakthrough on the full 2021 campaign. And I hope you're all doing good. I'm joined in by Tal. I'm sorry, guys. We have to restart here. And of course, we're starting with map 1. Oh my god, what a Pipega.
It's fine, it happens to us all. That's good.
Yeah. So there we have it, the start. I mean, I was already explaining it beforehand, but for the YouTubers, you know, I quickly explain that again, because you have to hit this border here very precisely in order to minimize your water duration or your air duration, because you will bounce again up, and with that you just gain some hundreds here, or even, I think, even 0.2 of a second. But then now the real deal starts, because here, Tal, we have a sick part. Maybe you can explain that, what happens there, what voodoo magic happens there.
Yeah, so I think voodoo magic would be like a very accurate explaining of that section. Basically, your car is kinda zigzagging in this water. I'm not entirely sure why, as for the physics, why it happens like this, but apparently new nadeo stuff with the introduction of water, and that in such speeds. But basically your car is zigzagging, and it's actually a bit better to almost accidentally hit the wall near the end of this zigzag, basically. So that you have to release just a tiny bit less, and then you can go full speed all your way to the finish, and then clock in hopefully a nice time.
Yeah, I mean, what we can see here is that Cute Boy, is not going for that wallbang, because you go for this wallbang here to slow down, because you just gain so much time with that wiggle. So how you're gonna do that wiggle is you steer in 30%, that's the sweet spot, just left, right on the water, and then you just gain a lot of speed. And you see everyone is banging here, but Cute Boy is not doing that, but he just had the best amount of speed. But usually when you don't wallbang, you just slide out here, because you don't want to slide, or you don't want to steer in just when the dirt ends, or just when the dirt ends you want to steer in. And that's why you just get a lot of speed out of that. So, and then just go into the finish. Just jump in there. Maybe air brake or not, it doesn't really matter. But hey, you just have yourself a good time. Very, very random map. Needs a lot of patience. But I think that if you hunt it, you get rewarded on this one.
Yeah, exactly. It still requires skill, it's still all of that. But still, there are many skillful parts that you need to take into account. Like making sure to go early to the left. Then in the edge section, of course, you need to be doing the same. Then the wall hit you can potentially go for. Doing all of these tricks is going to be really sufficient, I would say. But yeah, that's a very nice first map. Though a bit random at times, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, this part here is random, like the wall hits, because you don't know the speed, but of course you want to hit there because of the penalty and stuff like that. And I think that this is a good opener, because it is easy to finish, because it's a full swim up also for beginner players, but also you can push it here a lot. I mean, the world record is right now, I think, by not Amaterasu, it is by by Grish. Grish it is. He has beaten Amaterasu with a 23.22, and Amaterasu has a 0.231. Yeah, so that's how it is. And let's go to the next map. I mean, there's not too much to say about this one, as well as about the second map, actually. Where is it?
I would say in the middle that the second one is starting to get a lot more skillful based, I would say. Not like RNG type of parts and sections. Second one is all skill, it's all about your reaction times and all of that, basically, that is connected.
Yeah, and also hello to all of the people in the chat, by the way. Hello to Mang, hello to Frechtax, also Skraken. Also happy belated birthday, Mang. Happy birthday, now you're a 30-year-old boomer, as you said. And also thanks for the follows, guys, and nice seeing all of you guys in the chat. So of course we're professional, but also here we have the usage of an action key on this one. So action key, of course, is not only known to be used on that keyboard device, you can also use it when you play pad. Have you actually tried it already, playing with that or not? With action keys, I mean, in general, I mean, you're a keyboard player, but have you tried it?
Yeah, I did try it. I still think it's also vital to pet players. I think it's also very beneficial to them. But yeah, I think it's good for every device. Pretty much shrinking the gap, which is good. Hope to see more like this in the future. Shrinking the gaps between players, that's definitely what the competitive scene needs right now in the Trackmania.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's really weird to play it for me. Also, I played this map for a bit, but I think this gives everyone the same opportunity. Of course, you then have more inputs, but you don't need more than 2 action keys on a map, you know? So you can just say, okay, my 2 buttons that I have left over on pad are my my action keys, and then when I press my analog stick a bit too much, it is the reset, you know? So some things like that.
Yeah, exactly, and you can also always switch the keys between maps. You can always, you know, change them according to the map you're playing.
And also it resets when you've crossed the finish line. That's also very nice. That is very, very good. Or when you respawn, and stuff like that.
Indeed.
So this map, you have a very, very, easy start, I would say. But then after this first no slide, which is action key 3, I think, or 4, 3 or 4 it is. I'm not sure. I also was thinking about that K-star, but I used 3 here. You do a no slide, and you no slide on dirt because then you just accelerate faster, especially when you're already that fast. And then you have to pull off a very hard jump. I didn't really get that one too much because I was always too far on the left, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that easy to pull off. Basically, this map requires you to, of course, do key start action key at the start. Then you need to be followed by an early release once again to go full speed and again gain speed a bit sooner. And then one more important thing to note is the angle in which you land to preserve more speed. You want your backward left wheel to hit the dirt before all the other ones, and then also you want to gain speed using your front wheel, your front right wheel. So I think Gish did it. He did it almost pretty perfectly even. So you only gained just a bit from that, maybe 2, 3, 4 hundredths, but this is just enough to gain the lead on such a map. So if you, thank you for showing. Exactly, if you look closely on his Ghost, you can already see how his landing is so superior to all others. I mean, he started releasing a bit sooner, then he went full speed a bit sooner. Tough to see it at the moment, but you know, with the backward wheel and the front one, you can see the landing, you can see how much he's gaining on everyone else. And here you can already see the difference in speed, and then the landing, perfect stuff, and to the finish,
And there you can see like this it's incredible on this map, because you know, you think, okay, yeah, the start is good, but then you kind of land in here and you have to wiggle. Yeah, you wiggle because with that you just gain more speed, as you said. But then this landing here, like the wiggle is the easy part, because then you have to adjust your line and then also land diagonally onto the left. And why is he landing on the left here? Because with that he gets a tiny tad less airtime and also a good angle for the next part. So it's like a win-win situation landing there, but look how, like, come on. Look how close that is.
Yeah, that's basically illegal, I would say. But yeah, he's going from the outside, basically very, very gently steering. He doesn't steer too much, it's very, very important. And then from the outside to the outside once again, keeping all of his speed, all of his momentum to the finish.
Yeah, it's incredible, and he just does it very good. I mean, Gersh has a really good time here, a .38, being 200ths ahead of second world record. That is a lot on this track if you think that the gaps are only 300ths on this one. So yeah, we can zoom on it. That's for sure. We can definitely zoom on that. So let us do that. Let's see how close that is.
That's basically another level, I would say.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. that looks very close. Oh wait, I have to go here. Yeah, well, I mean, at this point, I'm not really sure what you think. Well, let me actually try to...
I think it's a verified wow moment, man. That's good stuff.
He's not done yet. He's not done yet. Yeah, that's how close it is.
Yeah, he may have missed 1,000th of a second, man.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. That is perfect. that is perfection. That is perfection.
Yeah, this time can definitely be beaten. I see some sort of time, maybe at the start or maybe at this jump here, that you can maybe take a very, very aggressive part and maybe release a little bit less, and then get an even more aggressive nosedive, like on 01 on Trackmania 2, you know. But the ending is so nice from Gersh here.
Yeah, it could be, but he already got like a very, very insane landing, I would say, on that dirt path. Yeah. So maybe at the start you can see he's a bit behind. Perhaps he already went for the release, which is a good idea. Maybe he just had a poorer kind of start. So maybe just a little bit of a time save there, but it's already very, very optimized, I would say.
Yeah, I think so as well. I mean, very great time. Also Hobbit here, for example, that I can also go into the camera. I mean, you can see there's hardly any, like, it's so close. They all take the same line. There are some differences, but look, all in this ending. Like, so much. It is so much. Yeah, maybe SD and not Wiggle? Yeah, maybe. Maybe, but just look at that. I mean, they're all, like, a couple of thousands, and then the ending is deciding it. Hobbit is just going a bit more inside, lose all the speed, and then he gets overtaken. It's all this ending, how much speed you get, and yeah, like, super great run there from Gersh, and well-deserved world record. I think world record number 2, because he's also world record on track number 1. What a gamer.
Yeah, indeed. And much more to come from this guy. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah, he is... oh, wait.
But maybe let's move on to the next one, I would say.
Yeah, let's go to the next track. As no one sees my typo here. Fall 2021. Yeah, no one sees that. There you go. Select all. Boom. So next track. Edits. There you go. Of course, if you have anything that we should focus on, make sure to write in the chat, like the suggestion there from Kevin, just saying, can you maybe zoom into that? Can you maybe see that? And here we have a map where we have some Germans in, yeah? Racehounds and Poki Terasu.
Nice nickname change, yeah.
Yeah, Poki Terasu, he's doing everything for money, yeah? No, of course, I'm joking. He had a sub goal, but it's all good, of course. So let me go into the spectator camera and let's go with one run on this map. Pretty straightforward map because it's full speed, but it has a little bit of a twist. A little bit. Just a little bit. I mean, the ending.
Yeah, and also this is the first map that basically enables you to pick your own line in some places. Where, of course, you can see Girish again really doing a good job on that line. I think we're gonna show it in a second.
Like, this ending is... It looks easy, but it's not. And what you mean by choosing a different line, you can go for a different apex on this one here, and also on this part. So yeah, see different lines. Some people, or like you see the car, the violet car, or like the shady car, going a little bit different than the others. And I think that's what you mean with taking a different line there. So there are 2 ways of doing it, or maybe even 3.
I mean, there are, of course, he would take the start pretty precise. That's pretty easy to do, as for the start. And then the thing that's gonna be the most decisive for your time is the double turn. You can see exactly right here. I think Gish does it the best, just by a tiny bit, and then has the upper hand already in terms of speed and the distance he has to go through the finish. And then the other thing, of course, is the end cut, where you wanna basically preserve your speed. You really wanna preserve your speed. You wanna do only little taps, only small movements. You don't wanna. You really wanna be gentle there. That's the main key, the main idea, I would say.
You have to go over that barrier. You don't want to clip anything, so it's very precise, and you see it. It looks easy and also obvious when you do it, but look, they don't want to clip the flag or anything like that. You know, beautiful. It looks like hacks. Let's say it like that. And also one other thing that I was noticing when you play this track, you also want to minimize the duration, how much you go over this penalty grass. Of course, here it doesn't really matter, but on this part here, you know, you don't want to exit very far to the right, because then you can either hit that tree, or you just slow down too much, and also you have a bad approach for that part. But everyone is doing it quite similarly. It is again, we have Gersh. Wait, does Gersh have the world record here as well? Wow, what a gamer. What an absolute gamer that guy is. He's crazy. But there you can see it. I mean, it was this one car here. From who is that? W. Is that from... was that Turus even? I think that was Turus. But he was exiting a bit more to the left. And thus he didn't get the best ending line. Yeah?
Yeah, exactly. And like I said earlier, the most important part here, the vital part, instead of the start, which is also kind of important. You can see even Giersch not doing the start the best. He's actually in last right now with his car. But the most important part is right here, the double turn. You can see him already going from last to first in this section exactly. And then the end cut is doing it pretty well, I would say. Even much better than that. And very gently taps, very gently taps. You see him exiting right now. He barely touches his keyboard or pad. I'm not entirely sure. I think that is pad. But he barely touches his device, you can see, to not sacrifice his line, basically.
Yeah, but yeah, you said it. He had really not the best start here. And then he took a very unique line over this one and had just way more speed on that grass section. But Also, that gentle steering really has helped him. I mean, he's 1 car length ahead. Also going a bit more aggressive over this one by the looks of it. By just, like, tapping in and then leaving the steering and then just being ahead. And the others come a bit closer, but still Giersch is staying ahead. And maybe we should talk about why they are going for that one. Why are they not going over the grass at the end?
Yeah, I think if you go over the grass, do it over like, obviously you're gonna lose a lot of your speed, touching it too much. You wanna barely touch it basically. You want to just return to the asphalt as soon as possible. You don't wanna travel too much distance. You wanna preserve your speed basically. All the speed you accumulated throughout the entire track. So yeah, that's exactly what they're going for. And this cut also happens to act like asphalt.
Yeah.
Compared to the grass. So that's also a valuable thing to do.
Yeah, so you just have more acceleration on tarmac than you have on grass, and you also travel less distance, so it's a win-win situation. But the cut is not really that consistent, because you can clip, you can get a slowdown or anything like that. With the new penalty update, of course, it has gotten easier, but it just looks very easy when they do it, because it's a very precise line to hit. Yeah, you don't want to be too far to the left, too far to the right, else you're gonna clip the pole or the flag, or you just bounce to Narnia, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And one more thing about the cut, by the way. The earlier you started, the riskier, but also it's really more rewarding, I would say, if that's if that's the correct word, because you can see Amaterasu here, or Pakiterasu. You can see him being just a slightly bit ahead of Giersch, but it doesn't matter because he's going a bit wider for the cut, and Giersch takes more risks by going basically in a more narrow manner, narrow approach, right here. So basically Amaterasu, despite us not catching up on that earlier, is losing it on the very last turn there, on the cut itself. Because before that he was actually, he was actually first before that.
Also here, I mean, he goes way more inside than the others onto that S turn. And he just has a better approach, but also, of course, it's riskier, but he still manages to get that apex. So good midsection there from Amaterasu as well, but look how he approaches here. So very wide compared to the others, but as you said, the inside line is harder to pull off, yeah? And that's why he loses speed, and the others just travel less distance, and he falls behind. Actually, right now, he's only on... only quote-unquote. I mean, second place is still sick on this one, but I think he was still surprised when he was putting that, or when he was driving that world record. It was actually on his birthday, I think. But
I did not know that. Okay.
But I mean, I think he was surprised by that run, but because he got a really good start and then also an okay ending, you know. But there is still a lot possible on this map, like 2, 3, maybe 400s or something like that, or maybe we're gonna find something new here as well.
Yeah, true. Maybe going a bit closer, just one more tap to go closer near the end. Maybe that pays off. Not entirely sure, but it could be. Also, a better start from Giersch is possible. So yeah, maybe we can save just a tiny bit more. But you can see Amaterasu losing just a bit in the end. It's actually better to do that in terms of consistency. Like if you play matchmaking or stuff like that, of course you would like to go for the Amaterasu approach and not like send it every time like the Giersch approach. But of course, if you're in hunting mode, you would like to do like that. And to go risk all of it, basically. Go all in.
But yeah, I mean, 5... it doesn't really save that much, I would say, like this cut. So I'm not sure if it's really valid for matchmaking. Of course, if you want to brag or flex, but I think that they are not going to go for that. But let's
I don't know. I meant go wider regardless of the cut, of course.
Yeah, true. But yeah, that's like more of the non-cut line. So I think that is better. But let's go to the next one. I mean, map number 3 it is. And also we have a very straightforward map as well that is coming up, which is map number 4. They're always going to the wrong thing here. Wait a second.
And the introduction to Karyan.
Yeah, Karyan and Gish have gotten really good times indeed. They are gaming. Select all. And Karyan has a 0.18 or 0.018. Let's see. Edits. Boom. Okay, let's download some skins here. Yeah. There we go. But yeah, 500s are a lot in Trackmania. They are a lot. So this one is straightforward. It's just precision, finding the right apex. But of course, there are people who can just do it a bit better than others. And there's one player called, maybe you know him. He's from Sweden, yeah. His name is Karyan. He's okay in this game, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, only like the 2009 world champion. Like, you know, he's pretty okay in this game, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. He's
What cyber games, indeed.
yeah. He's yeah. I mean, it's just interesting to see that his line is working out. But there's also one different line here from the Nulovs player that we've seen from Darkbringer. That is interesting, and I also wanted to focus on that, and also the ending here. So there are 3 parts on this map that are important. Firstly, this part here, because you don't want to drift, but what you want to do here is speed sliding. Yeah, you want to speed slide this part to gain speed, and you can see how good Darkbringer is doing that. And then you also want to avoid to hit the water, because that is slowing you down. But you want to like enter really early on to minimize airtime. So it's still a fairly simple map, but also kind of complex. And you see this line from Darkbringer here. Darkbringer goes very, very interestingly here, actually, on this part.
Yeah, I think if you're a good player, if you're really precise, and if you also know how to speed drift really well, I think this map is almost like a free world record for you. And the reason for that is basically Karen is the only player doing the start right.
Hello.
If you notice that, he's the only one not going too early to the left, which is important because that ruins your line. So Karen is the only one not going too early to the left, so he ends up in a much superior line than anyone else who goes too early to the left, basically. And then he kind of loses it in the end because Darkbringer had such a better SD coming to the end. So if you combine both of the lines, Darkbringer actually had the better SD because he went for a tilt. He went for a tilt with his carry. He's landing just a tiny bit sooner. He's able to SD just a tiny bit sooner with his wheels. And then you can see him exactly right now. Thank you for that footage. He's gaining. He's gaming and gaining a lot of time. So if you combine both of Karion's line at the start, not going to the left too early, and then Darkbringer's end, basically by tilting your car to start a speed slide earlier, you can do a pretty good job here. And of course break the world record. It's not optimized yet, I would say. Though of course 6 times by both Karion, Darkbringer, and all the top 5.
All the top 5, but yeah, there are like some small mistakes. Also Nathan here, look at this jump. Like his approach is a bit more to the right, and thus he just jumps a bit higher than the others. And look how much he loses with that, and like how much speed. That is so much. Like it was like 200ths of a second, but that is on this map a lot. So yeah, good things that you've mentioned there. Karion is the only player who's doing this start correctly. Let's take a look onto Karion's start here, because he is like already like far ahead compared to the others, because he just takes a very direct approach, also does not hesitate here and he waits a bit and then gets a perfect turn and is already 1 wheel length ahead. Yeah, not 4 wheel length, 4 wheels, haha. But yeah, he just gets a lot of speed, but then the ending from Karion is not as good as from Darkbringer, even though he's 1 car length ahead, but he comes closer. But Darkbringer is also a full speed player, so there's still something more possible. And how can you, like there's one question from Kevin, how can you drive sausages correctly? I think it's all about hitting the apex properly and also to go as diagonal as possible on that trajectory. For example here, you know, you see Karion like try to minimize or like maybe even steer to the left there if you do not feel confident with that. But you don't want to like go very direct over it, because then you run into the danger to jump. And that's what he does. He goes in with a very, very low angle, and then he steers into the right to not get a slide and also not airtime.
If I may add to that, I think there are 2 main approaches to how you should drive sausage blocks. So one is basically being, you need to basically stay low. You want to stay low. When you jump, you want to stay low almost all the time when you drive on them. Unless if you have like a very special reason not to. Because if you're about to jump, of course you want to stay low. That's pretty obvious. And also coming back from a jump, all of those stuff, if you're about to turn, all of these kind of things, you really want to stay low. Now the second thing that applies to all the other cases, and especially for the ones when you actually go and need to make a drift, or you have like too much speed, sometimes in that case, you want to stay on the middle thingy, and then start a drift using that thing. It's much easier to start a drift using that place to start with, and then you have much better control over your car. And just because of the way the bumper blocks are built. So it's kind of a combination, of course depends on the turn, of the stay low approach and use the white middle bump social thingy to initiate drifts, I would say.
Yeah, it's hard, and I think that's something that you said with the initiating drifts. It's more of an advanced thing. Also, the map that you've built for your competition, for example, that was a fairly advanced sausage map. You know, it looks very simple, but you have a lot of things there that you have to consider. I think we can maybe play it afterwards if you just say it again in the chat afterwards, but also in the track of the day today. We have a part where you have to initiate a drift into a sausage with a jump, yeah? But there are a lot of things, and I really like the sausage style. Also here, you know, we have different lines there, and you can see the line from Gersh not really working out that well because he was approaching more from the middle, and with that getting more airtime, yeah? It's just a small bit, but yeah, you know, those things stack up, and those are just general rules, also the rules that you have mentioned, Tal.
Yeah, but of course it gets a bit more advanced than that. These are just very, very basic stuff to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
But for this map, of course, only being the fourth track in the game on this season, I think that's enough. Enough at least for this moment.
Yeah, I really like the first 4 tracks. They really introduce you to everything. They're really nice. I like
Yeah, they're pretty good. Very, very friendly first tracks.
Yeah. But also the auto times, dude, I always click wrong, are also not too hard. Yeah, but let's go to track number 5. Yeah, one of the... Yeah, a bit longer map, I mean 28 seconds. We had a longer map in the summer season, which was a remake of B15, if I recall correctly. I think it was, right?
True.
Yeah.
True. And now after the introduction of Karian, we see the introduction of Plastic, actually.
Yeah. Oh, good transition there, Tal. Very good transition, man.
Thank you.
That's very nice. Okay, we have the next one. And also, yeah, actually one of my favorite map, but I think we could probably talk about this map for like 3 hours.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Many techniques here in this one.
This one is hard. Also the start already, you might wonder, but I'm just gonna go into a run here for a sec. Everyone going to the right. Then here, actually not a good line here from Donray, which turns out to not be that bad because he just got a good angle. Then small plastic wiggle, no speed slide, then minimize steering there, and yeah, water. Well, the start already. I think that's the first thing we can go for, the plastic start. So, what is plastic? I describe plastic always as dirt on steroids. I mean, look at that acceleration. You just accelerate so fast. And what is really important here is that you kind of hold your your speed, and you don't steer in the wrong moments. Like a bit like Island, I think. A bit like Island, how it behaves at the beginning.
Yeah, and actually Plastic's acceleration, as far as I know, for the most part, of course, not always, but for the most part, it's actually greater than normal asphalt on stadiums.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the most accelerated platform in the game right now.
Yeah, it is. But also one of the most fun to play. And also one thing Forever is mentioning here, the wiggle just here at the end of the plastic. Yeah. So with that you also gain speed. Then you have the water bounce where you want to steer in again with action key 3. Yeah. But this is just the main speed boost here. And also the no jump here. Yeah, you go diagonal, you enter from the left, and then you kind of want to have a no jump without releasing the gas. And then there comes the reset, and you just go to the right here. You want to gear up before you steer in. Yeah, you want to gear up here. And then another wiggle, and then also your car is still affected by the water, so you have to do a smooth steer. So many things at the start, it's incredible. I could just talk about those things forever, man.
Yeah, literally. And also, if you look on the line of, I think it was Pussy Topako, the nice nickname there, the world record holder. I think he's from Hungary.
Yep.
If I can recall. So yeah, if you look closely on his line, especially at the start, he's doing things a bit differently. Like you can see anyone doing the no jump, going a lot more to the right. But if you look really closely, after this section, when coming to the no jump, he's basically not going too far to the right. I'm not entirely sure why. I think it's like something that is it has to do something with the plastic. But now you can see that he's actually gaining because of that. He has a little bit of more speed, not a lot, but it's of course something to work with. Now of course he can tilt less with his car, gaining even more advantage. and then he has a better preparation and setup for the upcoming turn. So small things, but of course they pay a lot if you know them in time.
Yeah, those things on this map really stack up. And also here already the start. You know, if you steer too early, you just lose half a second. Then you do this, you kind of have to smooth steer, then you have to wiggle, you know, and then the water trick as well, super important. You just get the speed. But let me take a look onto that again. Let me take a look onto that again here. Why did he... I think, so of course, you go diagonal to not get airtime, yeah? And I think that was the small tap there. Have you seen that?
Wait, Turbo, I think you're missing out. The chat is screaming.
Yo, oh my god, Toto with a raid. Hello. Hello, this is not AO1, but this is the campaign breakthrough. Tal and me, wow, how did I miss that? Holy shit, thank you so much. 25 people. Yeah, I'm not playing together, but I'm talking together with Raystar, who is also here. Make sure to also give him a follow, !Raystar, and welcome to all of you guys. I hope you're all doing great. We are currently analyzing the top 5 of the new campaign and see what they are doing. What the strategies are. So maybe you guys can also learn from that. But yeah, thank you so much, man, and welcome to all the new people.
Yeah, hope you had a good swim yourself, Toto.
Yeah, always nice to see you, man. Thank you so much for the raid. Ah, look.
But yeah, speaking of map 5, a very weird map with the introduction of plastic basically, it makes you go and do some weird techniques. Like we talked about, like the quick zigzags to gain speed. Also a very important water to reactor boost section. You really want to go for the perfect no jump there, keeping as much speed as possible, from moving of course from plastic to stadium. But you don't want to turn too much. That's what I talked about with that world record line. You don't want to do that, you don't want to lose speed or go over too much distance. So after that you've got a very very short drift to make sure you of course go as wide as possible and carry lots of speed. And then after the landing you want to do a quick zigzag thingy once again, keep the speed and moving back to the road. That's coming to the end section basically. And then in the end section you really want to steer gently, you barely want to steer, hold all of your speed. Some of the top 5 actually oversteered this, and then they lost a lot of time. So of course you don't want to do that. And indeed, and again combine all of the top times and you get yourself a nice potential new world record here, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that you have to consider. You just mentioned some of them, but you will see more and more the more you talk about that. Of course, that nose set and the less steering gear. You know, you see the Hungarian just exiting it like that. I'm not trying to butcher his name, so I'm not doing that. But the wiggle is so important to do. And one small thing, I mean, just look at that, Talia. One thing that I figured out here when I was actually going into that, but look at that, he opens up the steering just when he has the apex, like where he is the most in danger of jumping. He just opens the steering there. Look at this. He opens the steering, and I think maybe because of that he has a bit more grip. Maybe the others go a bit sideways. Maybe that's the case.
Yeah, he's straightened more with his car. Yeah. That's, I think, is the case, exactly.
The others are a bit sideways here. You see that. You see that comparison.
Yeah, I'm also careful not to jump too quickly to conclusions, because it could also mean basically that he gained more speed to begin with before this part because of the zigzag parts or the jumping from the water. So it could be that, thing as well. Yeah. But it also very well could be that he exited this in a more straightened manner approach.
Yeah, it could be, but of course it's only 1 or 2 kilometers per hour. But a very complex track. Also, you go for the right line because you just have to approach the drift from that side, you know, it's just what it is. And also the gear before that uphill, very important here. You can't slide out so easily, so you have to go very close into there. Also gentle steer. And yeah, just a very, very punishing track if you do it not correctly. And we have gaps of how many seconds? 28.82, and then we have a 28.67, so actually 0.15 of a second. But I think it's more about the water, as you have seen it there at the ending, how much you can gain with that.
Yeah, indeed, and I think not much more to say about this map. We talked about the zigzags, we talked about the no jump section, we talked about coming to the end, and again the drift there, and of course the zigzag near the end, and lastly the barely steering near the finish. So we pretty much covered this one up, I think. Not much more to talk about this one. Pretty good track though, pretty good track, very skilled, very good ideas. I'm not really a fan of the water kind of blocks, you know that. But other than that, pretty good. It's pretty good. It's decent stuff.
And let's watch the water bounce again here. Let's see. I mean, he's so far. Okay, interesting actually. He's so far behind. Let's take a look into the water bounce here. Oh, bruh. Wow. And yo, Azix, man. That is a wicked line. And of course, one other thing, you kind of steer to the right beforehand. You see it here, to steer to the left and get the water zoop, you know, to get speed, just by steering in gently. There's a threshold where you want to steer in, how you actually, or when you actually accelerate, but there are so many things to talk about, and I think it's too early to jump into conclusions because we are not plastic professional players. Also on water, there are so many things still to be discovered. We only know that we can use action keys and that you can kind of get speed with that. Yeah, that's all I know.
Yeah, I mean, no one is an expert in it yet. It was like the introduction of ice. I see some people talk about it here in the chat. So of course it will take a bit of time until we're all getting used to that more and getting all of the different ideas and principles behind it.
Exactly. But let's go to the next map. I mean, map number 5, you can talk about that for hours. But let's go to the next one. Map number 6. Actually a good pun here because it's Fal. I just mistyped, but it's also Race Tal. You know, that rhymes. My typo. Okay, let's stop with that.
Very nice.
Edits.
Also, if I may add so, proud of my chat here, coming to say hello. Yeah, I missed a few of your comments, guys. I'm sorry. Hello to all of you. Thank you for supporting me and Turbo here.
And also, if you haven't followed Tal already, make sure to do that. And also give Toto a follow, yeah? But, I mean, Tal is the man who had this idea. So we just sat together and say, yeah, why shouldn't we do that? We like to talk about those things. But, yeah, who's that? Who's Race Tal? Who's that guy? I only know Tal. I only know Race Hunt. Nah, he's the washed up Trackmania player. He's not good.
This joke is so old, man. Yeah. But yeah, I got it.
He uploads weird clips to YouTube. The clips are great, mate. Really, they're great. I'm only joking, okay? The clips are great. I always watch them. You know?
Yeah, same with you, by the way.
Well, I don't upload clips. It's all good. Okay, we have the next map. We have the next one. Map number 6, attack map, and also the introduction to Karjan again. Yeah, also Schmaniol here, one of my VIPs, has a good time on this one. Okay, so on this map, the start very important because you don't want to get a drift, and also very outside approach to not get yourself, yeah, like you want to get as much speed as possible, and with that you don't want to have a lot of angle. Then here you have that no jump, very diagonal line that you take, and also less steering on the grass section, only a little bit of speed sliding. And then, oh boy, this ending. I played this map and it's painful. What is painful on this map, Tal? Have you played this one as well?
Actually I did not, but I can already see 3 different things here that can definitely help your time be a much better one. First being in the start, basically. You want to basically don't drift, of course. You want to turn your car only slightly. You don't want to overturn your car. You can see all the cars here doing almost exactly the same line. They're just turning slightly with their car, keeping it going. They don't drift. They don't do anything beyond that. Even if it's a drift, it's a very small one, very minor. Nothing to impact the run afterwards. So that's the first thing you should notice. The second one, you talked about the transition between the grass powder, the grass thingy, and to the asphalt. So the way I see it right now, everyone who was a bit higher in the grass had a much better transition to the asphalt. So if you can view the second place, I think Schmaniol is actually top 5, so top 2. I think he had the best approach here. I think he had the best approach. So yeah, it's Walton. Yeah, exactly, that guy. And I think right here he had the upper hand basically. And then coming to the end, you want to take it really, really wide. You want to keep your speed up to the finish. And of course you worked so hard to accumulate speed, and then all you gotta do is preserve it up to the finish line. And then Karjan had just a tiny bit better end jump, so of course he sniped him exactly in the last corner. But you can see, of course, Walton had much the upper hand the entire track. So combine again both lines, and then you have a nice new world record here.
Summarized nicely here from you. I mean, also that line here from Walton, you have emphasized this one nicely, but one other thing, if you play this map, you need such a precise approach over this drift and such a good apex, because the thing is, if you drift more, you lose your gear, and you don't want to gear down in a drift, because this leads into a speed loss. Yeah, so that's why the exiting so wide here. I mean, of course, we have Schmanuel taking a little bit of a different line here and exiting a bit more inside, but thus he also didn't have that much speed, but of course the others land with more in the tilt, so Schmanuel is closing in again, yeah? But also the ending, it's not easy to do, it's hard to adjust this line. Of course you can finish very far to the left like Schmanuel did here, but of course you also don't want to steer too much before. You have to like negotiate with yourself how you want to approach that. It's definitely not easy, of course, also because of that transition, because this is kind of tailoring your way. And then of course how you end up in there, you have to really estimate that, and it's definitely not easy, but I think you have pointed out everything on this map.
Yeah, pretty much. Also you with the gear there that you don't want to lose, that's very important, forgot to mention that. And one more thing, I actually saw people play this track in matchmaking, and then they almost all made like the same mistake of course being so afraid to lose the gear, so they went really narrow exactly in this turn, which is okay, you know, it's safer. It's more consistent sometimes, but then you lose all of your speed basically. You lose so much of your speed. So sometimes it's better to go wider, spend some more distance in this track, going a bit over more distance, knowing you're actually having more speed. So you're actually gonna get it plus more eventually. So fear not, guys, fear not, I would say.
The ending, you mean, right? And also the gear, right?
In this section, exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. There's one question, let me check here. One question, is it possible to get the gold or even alter medal without doing the risky finish? Well, I think not actually, because you go around very much, and I think even the risky ending is not really hard. You know, you should just try it. And I mean, going around here, that definitely loses you a lot of time, because you have to slow down tremendously and just go around and just try to do it. You know, you have to get an approach.
Yeah, I actually did not know there was another finish. So to me, every finish is a risky finish, but yeah, I would say it's hardly doable. Like you would have to get like maybe a perfect run, if even.
I think so as well.
And but also, I think that's enough for this track. Yeah, we pretty much covered all of the different strats here. This one in track number 6, right?
Yeah. One other thing is that everyone is jumping into a drift to also get themselves the angle. Yeah, they don't go very wide. So maybe we can see a little bit of tweaks there with the lines. I mean, we see different lines on this track, but I think you said that if you combine everything, we get a good time. What are the gaps here? Schmanuel has a 0.59 and Karian has a 0.56 even. Okay, that is pretty close actually. But I think with everything perfectly, a 4x is possible. But that is a very hard round to do.
Yeah, I agree. And of course, you can see Schmanuel here losing a bit in the end by going he went basically for the narrow approach, which is fine. But then you can see he's actually going for the double drift. So of course, because of the second drift, he's losing a bit of speed. And then he basically did not gain anything. He also did not lose much. So the wider approach is not that much faster. That's why I said it's a bit less consistent, but it's a bit faster. So you could also do that, which is a bit more consistent and slower. At least pretty sure about that. But take into account, you would have to double drift to do that sometimes.
Also, one other thing that what Schmanuel did, he oversteered just before the jump. Yeah, he didn't have the best approach because he wanted to finish more to the left, but you see how much speed he loses here in this section. Like, the others are just having way more speed, even though he finishes way inside, but the others have more speed due to his oversteer. So one oversteer can really cost you like 1 or 2 hundreds, and he was on a good way, but his ending was unfortunately not that good. But I hope that he can catch up.
Exactly, he did correctly to his position, angle and speed, but of course they already had better speed to begin with, so you can't fight with that, of course.
Well, did they actually? I mean, Schmanuel was catching up, but of course here afterwards, here they had better speed, because Schmanuel had a pretty, his car was bumpy. Okay, never mind then. Yeah, true that. His car was a bit bumpy. Okay, so that is track 6. Music is coming back, very nice. Music sometimes. Dude, I'm always clicking the wrong thing. Oh man,
Happens to us all, no worries.
like the bad habits, guys. Okay, the posture check is being done. You know, we have to sit normally in front of a desk. But yeah, we have another plastic map, map number 7. Oh man. And we have again Gersh, the madman, having the world record here.
Yeah, and he also went for a line of his own, which is also very, very smart. Very, very smart.
Let's just spectate Gersh here for that first run though. Let's take a look how he's doing that. I mean, he has that skin that we've seen again. The Fate skin or whatever that is. But yeah, different line here. Very, very aggressive line again. And has more speed. And then the ending holding the gear. Wow.
Yeah, but he almost lost it in the end though, to Pustito Paco, which is 2nd place. Also, don't know why, I really like his nickname. But yeah, you can see Gersh at the start. He's doing a very, very interesting thing. He knows that you build speed throughout the entire first 10 seconds. So knowing that, he decides to go basically in the first 5 to a different strat. He's going for a strat that he would basically go wider. So he initially loses speed, but then he gains everything back in the next 5 or 6 seconds. You can see it at the start on the blue car right here. So far he's behind, but he has more speed, he has more control, and like right now, boom, he's first already. And then he's in the race again, so that's very, very smart. And here you talked about him being aggressive, and I couldn't agree more. He's doing that aggressive line, and the reason he does that basically is that it's like a U-turn there. It's like a U-turn. So, and it's a plastic U-turn after an asphalt. So it may mean nothing to you, or it could mean a lot, but here it gives him a lot more speed coming up to the finish. Because if you have too much speed coming to a U-turn, basically, especially after an asphalt and to plastic, you would have to travel too much distance, and he does not wanna travel all that distance. So the way to avoid that, the way to avoid traveling too much distance, is basically having a bit less speed to begin with, and that's why he's basically sacrificing his line here. He's doing this aggressive line, he has less speed, now he travels less of a distance, so he has more speed again, and that's having the upper hand for the upcoming part of the finish. Now here he does a little mistake. He could have jumped more to the left. You can see Pustito Paco gaining on him. So basically if you combine Gersh's line and Pustito Paco's line, if you combine both of these lines, you can have a much more optimized time on this track, and of course get yourself a new world record. If that was easy on this map, but of course it's highly doable, I would say.
Yeah, it's doable, but yeah, interesting ending from Pustito Paco. What a name, dude. But he just jumps way far up, and with that getting a nosedive. And he got it so good. Look at the speed that he has accumulated. I mean, he has more speed than all the others. And also coming closer towards the world record from Gersh. But interesting line, and I think also well explained. I cannot add more to that because you just have explained it perfectly there. Why and how he's taking that line, also the different approach here, but he just sacrifices his speed to just travel less distance. Yeah, I think that describes it very well.
Thank you, and of course I'm pretty sure that many players here want to know actually how does he have so much speed near the end. So right here you can see Pustito Paco jumping much more to the left, so that he has to steer to the right much more gently. So he steers only gently to the right compared to all others, of course. And this basically gives him the advantage. And you also gotta take notes that it kinda like Turbo said, it's like almost a mixture of asphalt, dirt, ice, all the blocks themselves. So you steer slightly, only slightly, and then because of that, and because it's not just like normal asphalt, you're gonna have your speed. It's not like linear. I mean, you get much more because of that, not only a bit more.
It's weird. It's weird. Plastic is weird and still something that we have to discover. I really like the style, but it just feels sometimes a bit wrong. I mean, if you think you have understood dirt and everything like that, then you play a plastic and sometimes you're like, huh? Like, why did I lose speed? But it's also about gears and stuff, and smooth steering, tapping, whatever, those things, you know? So I would tap on that, and he's also doing that. Yeah, like a lot of small taps and then holding and being aggressive. And then the ending is just very nice. Of course, you also want to avoid hitting the grass there onto the left, which can lose you a lot of speed and also can like mess you up. We can see the white red car there not doing it that well actually. It was Jake Ray. Yeah, he loses a bit. He loses it a bit at the ending because you see he approaches or he jumps very far to the left, gets a wonky approach, and then almost or even hits the grass and almost didn't make it into the ending. Almost was very close though,
Yeah,
but
very nice whisk from him though.
Yeah, good save.
Yeah, I think this map specifically for the introduction of plastic is a very good one. It teaches you mainly two very important things about plastic that you need to know, that I kinda figured out only lately. So the first thing being basically that you wanna go wide before stadium section, before asphalt section, so that you have to carry more speed, which is good for you. And then the second thing, which is kinda more rare I would assume, except for this map of course, if you have a plastic kind of U-turn, you would probably wanna finish that section early. You don't wanna travel too much distance. So just like this map, you would like to take a more narrow kind of approach. So go wide if it's like asphalt to plastic, and sometimes go narrow if it's plastic to asphalt. Of course, it's not like 100%, but it's a general rule of thumb, I would say.
Yeah.
If you look on this map specifically.
And also, of course, there are like the most important thing that stands over everything of that is of course holding the gear, yeah, and not gearing up or down when you're sliding. And you of course slide on that underground a lot because it's plastic. It's just a matter how it is. But I think those things that you just said are just below that. But of course the gears, we just take that for granted, you know. We just take it for granted that you have to hold the gear.
Yeah, that's obviously. Yeah. I mean, obviously, if you lose the gear, you're not gonna be on world record pace. I mean, or anywhere close.
You lose a lot.
Yeah, you would lose a lot. Yeah.
But yeah, I think also a good introduction. Like we have a road plastic map, a good map, not too hard, pretty smooth if done correctly, and I think also a fairly huntable track with that ending. Of course, the pressure is on there, and still some time to gain. So if you combine that Pusito Paco ending and also the run from Gersh, you have probably what time do we have? Probably a 4x, even like a low 4x is possible, I think, here on this one. Or maybe even a 3x.
Yeah, I would probably agree. Not sure about the 3x, that could be a little farther, but let's start with 4. 4 is definitely doable here.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
Highly doable. But I think that's pretty much about this one.
Yeah, I mean, this track is voodoo magic as well, but I think just going into the replays, checking them out, and just like repetitively look into that. I mean, I've checked the world records before that plenty of times, and then I was checking, yeah, they're doing this and that and this and this, and sometimes it's just hard to do that, and then you just see some things more out of that, and that's how you learn. And I think it's really helpful to do those analysis here. I really like it.
Yeah, same for me.
Okay, so now we have again a little bit of dirt, and also it has everything. It has sausage, it has dirt, it has a water part that you have to steer in. But also one thing that I quite didn't understand on this one when I was preparing, because there's one line that the world record, or I mean, I think I watched Road Taker's one here, what he is doing that I didn't understand too much. Maybe you can explain that to me. But I didn't understand one thing on this map, why he's doing that. Of course, the start being straightforward, minimizing airtime, getting a smooth third turn, also don't want to drift too much before that transition. Then you have a full speed part that is not easy to do on that sausage one, into a freewheel. And now there comes the part that I don't understand. Why do people release there? People release on that one, in this one. Is it because of the gear that you lose?
I have not played this map, so I'm not entirely sure. I could assume though. I could probably make a slight guess. I think if you go too wider, if you have too much speed, you would go too wide, and it's probably not beneficial for you coming to the finish. You maybe wanna have there's also a bump there. There's also a bump, so maybe you wanna take like advantage of the bump, and then have just slightly less speed, but then you get it like back again. Maybe I didn't play it, so I can't say for sure, but. That would be like my pure guess here, I would say.
Okay, we have Jairul actually in the chat. That's cool. The goal is to lose the gear. Okay, that's why you release. Okay, fair. If you hold the 5th
gear... it makes sense. It makes sense, yeah.
Okay. Okay, interesting though. Then of course you have the bounce here. And then this part, I think this turn also gets a bit easier because of that. Okay. Okay. I see. You want to... Oh, you already prepare to lose the gear for this last turn because you would gear down here and lose a lot of speed. Oh, that is so smart, actually. Wow, that is like so advanced, if you ask me. Wow.
True. And also we talked about combining different replays to, you know, or at least try and attempt to do that to get a new world record. So I think if you take the current world record, and I think Jean Monnet, I think the fourth player, if I catch it up correctly, I think he went for the best end out of everyone. So if you combine kind of the world record and his end, because his end was much superior to the world record, I think that would be an easy new one. Because if you would do his end, like even in slow motion, I would probably even do it. Look how much he's actually gaining. He gains a lot.
Jean René or?
Yeah, Jean René.
Okay, let's actually...
I think it's him. I think it's him. Not entirely sure it was him though. But yeah, the start is not that interesting. It's basically precision. Then Gyro is here confirming. Thank you for that about the slowing down, which is important. I was also not entirely sure about this part with the gears. So slowing down, you know, to avoid the gear change. And then in the end, you would also like to kind of full send it. You want to take it from the outside to the outside, stay on the outside of course, and then at the right moment, jump, use the bump, and then use that thing to gain just a little more near the end. So I would say it's quite a tricky map. It's not that, like it's of course it's beginner friendly, but not if you want to hunt for the top 5 at first. Many tricks here. Yeah. Many tricks.
But I'm still surprised by that with this release so early on, because you know, you just think like that. Of course, I also didn't hunt that map, but there was one thing when I was checking the replay. Dude, why did he release there? You know, and I was like, hey, maybe I can bring up that topic. Of course, you have this part here, you don't want to slide out there, and then you have also a cool line here from Roadtaker. Look at that, how he's landing on there. He lands very far on the right, minimizing airtime, and gets himself such a good angle here compared to the world record. Yeah.
Roadtaker does have a good end as well.
Yeah.
Luckily for the world record, he was a bit too far, so of course he kept the lead, but I don't think it's gonna stand. I don't think this time it's gonna stand. Yeah. Because he lost a lot there. So of course all the players are already getting really close.
Yeah. Oh man, that ending also, this line was very great. And yeah, he lost a bit of speed, but got a really good flowy jump there, as you can see. But man, that is actually a very close fight between all of those players. I mean, also you see Jyrule here catching up. Didn't really get the best landing though, but catches up quite a bit and stays ahead of Roadtaker and Gerald, whoever that is. But yeah, tricky map, and I think also a lot of time to gain, maybe even at the start. You know, we see a different line from Roadtaker here, and not from Jean René. But it is a very tricky map, especially with the ending, being a bit lucky what you get, what kind of nosedive, what kind of flow. And yeah, it is a very tricky map also with that release. I like it. I like those things.
Yeah, I think we pretty much covered up this track. Like, of course, you would like to do the start really precise. The end also really is important. From outside, you can see here, to the outside once again. Very nicely done by Roadtaker. He actually was ahead for slightly time there. I mean, he just did a quick right or left movement, I think stabilizing, and then while he did that, basically he lost himself the lead. I think he was actually in the lead for a second.
Yeah, he was.
Near the end.
Okay,
yeah, but one... true. But one more thing you should actually note, I think is the middle section itself. Like if you can go there exactly. I think we missed a few things there, actually.
In the middle section? So you mean after the freewheel or here?
Yeah, I think right here, kinda. I think right here, after this, yeah, exactly right here, you wanna do very gently steering. Because I saw players playing this map, they steered really heavily to make sure they're gonna enter into the next part, into the asphalt. But you wanna steer really slightly. You don't wanna do too much of a steering here. You wanna get to the asphalt again with your car almost straightened up, carrying as much speed as you can do throughout the rest to the rest of the track. Sorry, and then yeah, keep it going, and of course going for the outside finish, outside to outside, keeping the speed, and clocking in hopefully a nice time.
Yeah, so some other things. You were talking about that, like the general rules of Trackmania. Don't slide when it's not necessary, and then also minimizing airtime. That's why they're exiting or entering from the right on that sausage part. And then also, let's take a look here, because it was also Kevin asking a very good question. I struggle to not slide out after the water bounce. I have heard something about short release before landing. Yeah, you can do that, but you see, the slide happens if you land tilted, if your car lands tilted to the left or to the right. You see every player here lands straight, you know? They land straight and they don't steer in immediately. Yeah, you see it here? They just wait a small bit before they steer in. Maybe you can see it now. Let me check that. But, you know, they land straight and they wait before they steer in, before they approach the turn. Before they're gonna make that. You've seen it there, because if you steer in already, you will definitely drift. Yeah, and you need that time, because it's like Island. Maybe you've played Island. If you land in a drift, you will drift. Yeah, also on Stadium. If you land in a drift, you will drift. And also with water, it's getting harder if you are in that, and you will lose a lot of time. So
true. And also the same way kind of is ice, especially knowing that your tires are gonna be ice tires for a second. So you gotta stabilize. That's the main principle. And then after you stabilized, yeah, you go and try to find the best apex for the turn. Either early one, geometric one, late one, whatever, as long as it works.
You just need to land perfectly straight, but maybe that is a bit hard, of course. But of course, you also want to get that water boost. So you see players tapping a bit to the right and then to the left when they hit the water to get themselves some speed. But of course, if you're not used to that, you can also wait a bit for the steering, because you want to land perfectly straight. Also, hello to Ray, and who else was there in the chat? Hello to Trolly Molly. Nice seeing all of you guys. But you just have to practice that. I mean, you can just reset from that checkpoint, but that's the line that you want to take. It's hard to explain, and of course, we also haven't really hunted that maps, but those are just thoughts that we have, and it's great to see the chat also implementing their thoughts to that.
True. And by the way, what I talked about with the tap, by the way, that you don't want to overturn there, I think Sapi is probably the only one who did not go for it, perhaps because of his line before that. But you can see how he was going from about first place, or almost like that, to almost like last. No, it's actually before that. It's actually after like 10 seconds, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah. But you can see the implications of that. Of course, a lot of time later. So right here is battling for first place, is about second.
Way less speed there already, yeah.
Yeah, and he steers now too much. You can see too many taps. And right here, you exactly from second to fifth in an instant. So of course, this only matters if you're really gonna go and hunt for the top 5, saying. But it's also important. It's also important that you know that, you acknowledge that while you race, and yeah.
Yeah.
Very educational track, I would say.
Yeah. Has a lot to offer. So that's map number 8. We had map number 8 and we already talked for 1 hour.